it's Lori Brown from Empowered Nurses and yournurseattorney.com coming at you again with Hey Nurses, What's Next? How 21 nurses became successful business owners and entrepreneurs. And today, what does a woman who receives download from trees and uses her spiritual guidance to create a successful business? So you're going to hear about that today with our business owner, Lisbeth Overton. Welcome, Lisbeth.
Well, thanks, Lori. Thanks for having me here. This is so fun. I love this concept that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I'm having a blast. I get to talk to the coolest people all day, and you know, how cool is that, right?
That's awesome.
So Lisbeth Overton is a nurse on a mission to provide clarity for nurses on what their sole mission is so they can make impact on their own terms and be paid for it. So, you know, again, no matter what crazy business idea you think you have, if it's your passion, go for it. And that's why I brought Lisbeth to you. Now, Lisbeth is still actively working in nursing, but has a plan to resign by January 1st. And we're going to talk about all that today. So, Lisbeth, tell me about your business.
Certainly. So I just want to start a little bit about this whole thing that I get information from the trees and back up to this concept of these limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves, right? I'm sure there are many nurses that have this idea that who are they to start a business, or who are they to do something that no one's ever done before? And I used to have this limiting belief that I didn't have a creative bone in my body, which is not a very good thing to say about yourself. And so I discovered I had been going to this lake in Minneapolis called Lake Harriet for 21 years, which is exactly how long I've been a nurse and is exactly how long I've lived in Minnesota. And I have been going there every day as often as I can for 21 years. And I just found out this place is a vortex. So for those of you who might not know, a vortex is a place, you've probably heard of this place called Sedona, Arizona, where there are tons of vortices, which is basically a place that energetically allows you to, let's say, have access to maybe information or sensations or feelings that you haven't been able to receive before. And last fall, I was at the lake, and every time I go there, it's really like the first time that I'm going there, because it puts me into this mind, body, spirit place that I'm just so aware of everything. Oh, and this is Gabe. He's semi-famous. He always gets on my live streams. He's really a lion, but he's posing as a cat because he's 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And animals are so intuitive. So anyway, I realized when I was at the lake, I literally got a message from my spirit that said, this was like as clear as day, we want you to write an oracle deck called Divine Downloads Channeled Wisdom from Your Soul. And I had never received a message from my spirit before. So I was very just overwhelmed with how cool this was. And I'm thinking, well, I'm 47. Why is this just happening? And how is this allowing to happen? And so my mission is to help reconnect nurses with their first sense, which is their intuition.
Yes.
We're all born intuitive. You cannot remove intuition from a person's DNA. It's part of your human makeup, and it's a safety mechanism. But what happens, right? It doesn't matter if you're a nurse or not. How many times have you gut level had a feeling and you ignored it, or you pushed it under the rug, or you were just like, yeah, I'll get to it later, and then it came back to bite you in the butt? It's like, oh. So anyway, through this experience that I had with the oracle deck, I went ahead and I wrote the deck. I received the deck, and I thought, this is part of my soul journey, which you all have a soul journey that you come here for. And it was huge for me, Lori, because up until now I had this pattern or this tendency to, and all the entrepreneurs probably can relate to this, the bright shiny object syndrome, where you go from one idea to another and you're like, oh yeah. And I would never execute fully or like close the loop. And so it was like one failure after another, right? So when I received this deck that I wrote, I was like, if this is all that I do, I'm going to be delighted. However, when I received them and I had like this little ritual, I did some sound healing and I did some sage, people actually wanted to pay me for them because they're a beautiful tool. And I was like, what? Oh, hi. So that was mind blowing. And the things that people are sharing with me as a result of this tool is, I can't put it into words how rewarding and like amazing it is. That's my other cat, Lovey. So I feel like that's the one thing that nurses are missing, because I've been a nurse for 21 years and I could check all the boxes. I'm healthy, I'm fit, and I had a really great job, and it was really rewarding. And I was like, something is missing. Why do I feel unfulfilled? And I felt really guilty for feeling guilty.
Yeah.
That I wanted more. So I started listening to my intuition, and then they're like, oh, we want you to do a podcast of the same name. And so I just published my 35th episode. So I really feel like, and I was just at the NNBA conference, and I took my cards with me. I created business cards with my oracles on the back. So I did tons of card readings, essentially. Nurses are hungry for this information. And so what I have done is, over the last 8 years, is I have done all the self-study on manifestation, law of attraction, limiting beliefs, mindset, and energy. And so I created my own methodology, and it's called Clarity. And it's an acronym for all the things that I walk nurses through to help them reconnect to that deepest part of you that has all the answers you ever need.
Wow. So I want to go back. So you've tried other businesses and just haven't been able to get any traction on them because your soul had a different purpose. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, I had this cool program called Healthy Boss or Healthy Nurse Boss Soul School. It was a little bit about teaching some energy and stuff, but it wasn't like hook, line, and sinker. I wasn't completely aligned, because here's why. There's this thing called comparison, Lori, and it is the thief of joy. Like, the thing that you do without thinking is the thing that I want you to do more of, and stop comparing yourself to what other business owners are doing, and do you.
You're right. Right. You don't need to come up with these products. Who's your audience? Start there. Figure out who your audience is, and then figure out what they need. Don't worry about what you want to give them. Worry about what they need, and then figure out how you can serve them.
Truly. Yeah, it just wasn't in alignment. And also, I didn't really know what I was doing.
But now you have so much clarity.
It's the thing that I have struggled with for 8 years, and it's because it's the most important thing that you can do when you have a business is, what is it that you provide? What is the solution that you provide? What is the problem you solve? And who is it for? Right.
And so I think a lot of people are afraid to step out of the spiritual closet, and they're afraid they don't think they can make money doing this. And that is so not true. And that's why Lisbeth is here to show you that it is possible.
You know, it's so funny that you say that, because everything is perspective, right? Like, I have well, maybe I could say that now, but maybe I couldn't say this a couple of years ago. Like, I have no qualm stepping out of the spiritual closet. Like, that's who I am, and I have no shame, or I like shot it from the rooftops. However, when I was at the NNVA conference, I was actually in Keith Carlson's beautiful talk that he was doing about marketing and writing and stuff for your audience. And Keith asked something like, can someone just share a little bit about what you do? And I talked about energy work. And literally after the talk or whatever, this girl like leans over and she's like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Like, I didn't know that you could combine nursing. Like, I think she might've used the word woo or spirituality. I'm like, yes, girl.
Yes.
I was like, okay, like, my mission is accomplished today, that I have like given someone else permission to like share your true gifts.
That's great. So you're quitting your job in January 1st?
December,
yay. Okay. And so what was your biggest fear when making that decision?
So I had this limiting belief all along this is nuts, right? But this is something that the human condition experiences, crazy ideas that I couldn't really make a go of it doing something that's in this vein, right? Of spirituality and energy. Like, what? Are you kidding me? It was totally like it had to be clinical or it had to be
Yeah.
like use
You
cookies.
started as a nutrition coach. Yeah.
Totally. Right. And it's like, to me, energy, the people that don't know about energy, it's like the secret sauce because I've been a nurse for 21 years and a coach for 8 years. Lori, no one has ever said to me, I really wish I had less energy. It's the mea culpa in so many people. So I love teaching people about all things energy because that's all we are is energy.
We are. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. So again, what was your biggest fear about leaving your business was the limiting belief that
it wasn't like, that's crazy for you to think that you could actually take something that you're passionate about and that you know a lot about and actually make an income that would match my lifestyle. That's not somehow clinically related. Like it's so outside of the box that
Right.
that was my biggest fear.
Yeah. And we all have these limiting beliefs. This is, like you said, it's related to the human condition.
Yeah.
The way that I look at it is that, we have like a reptilian brain or a lizard brain, which is designed to keep us safe. And so anytime we take a risk or something that we might get eaten by a dinosaur, or our brain thinks that, then it's scary to us. But those are just limiting beliefs, and they can be dealt with. And you can, once you realize them, you're like, oh, well, that's silly. Of course I can.
Mm-hmm. It's so, it'd really be great if in nursing school, I wish nursing school would be like part clinical, part personal development. Because
that's a great idea.
I know. Wouldn't that be genius? Like, hello, do you really want us to be strong healers? Well, we first have to work with ourselves.
Right. Yeah. And they also need to teach more about how to protect your license too, instead of just doing tasks, doing the tasks and the judgment. We're all about holistic. Well, let's incorporate the self in it as well.
So good. So good.
So, what was your biggest mistake in your business, and how did you overcome it?
Oh God, I have at least 15. I'll just share 2 of them. So I was that girl who, because I'm a recovering perfectionist, I always put the cart before the horse. Like I want to spend the most money. I want everything to be Nordstrom's brand. And so you don't need to have some fancy website with all the bells and whistles. If you don't have any clients, first get clear on what is the solution you provide, number one. Number two, how many times have you heard famous authors that sold books out of the back of their car? Like there's this limiting belief or this idea or this misconception that you have to have all these things. So I spent way too much money doing things that weren't necessary at the time for where I was in my business. And I had a ton of shame around it. And also, please, you're talking about, you're an attorney, obviously, the legal implications. I was audited for my business.
Oh, no.
So I have never been, up until a couple, maybe last year, I did not have a good tracking system. And so for the love of all that is holy, please do not make the mistake that I made and not being, I had like all the stuff. I had the banking account, everything, the credit cards, I have an LLC, so it's like a legit legal entity. However, my tracking system was not very organized. So I would say the organization piece and doing way too many things that were completely unnecessary because I had this idea that it had to be perfect because I'm a recovering perfectionist.
And you and I met at Tony Robbins at Business Mastery years ago. And, Tony is great and he's so inspirational and wonderful, but it's not like having somebody who's been where you want to be, because he was generic for every business. And for me, I need somebody who's specific to what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And I've had many coaches and many certifications and courses to help me on this entrepreneurial path. And I would say, if you are going to spend the money to invest, and I don't care if it's a coach or the website or the tracking system, do not invest in it unless you are 100% sure that you're actually going to leverage that tool and that you're actually going to use it, because there's all kinds of things that happen when you don't. It's like you feel bad about it and then you're not using it. And then it's just like one more thing to overwhelm you in your business.
Yeah. And people are telling you, oh, well, here's a, how to start a podcast, or here's how to start a blog, or here's, and you might not need that for your business. It's so individualized. So, get the mentor that can map out your whole plan for you so that you can take each step. As my favorite saying is, stay in the step that you're in. So that's one of my mentors saying. So stay in the step that you're in. So you don't need all this stuff out there when you're not ready for it.
Totally. I was like 20 steps ahead of myself. It was like, girl, no.
So what do you like best about what you do?
It changes people's trajectory of their lives. It's literally like going from being in the dark and not being able to find the light switch to, oh my gosh. Basically, to me, sort of the metaphor would be somebody who's living in deep resistance. Everything is a struggle. Everything is hard. And the person is like looking outside of themselves for what is already within. And so it's helping nurses uncover the magic that is already within them. And so they don't have to make themselves physically, emotionally, spiritually sick, because they're basically depending on the man or their employer to actually care about them as a human. And I'm sorry, but I don't think that's ever going to happen in our lifetime. So
Wish it would, but
yeah.
We all need to, nurses have to all step up to have that happen. And, they're afraid.
Totally. And I totally understand, because I'm a student of Brene Brown. I know shame. I lived it for most of my life. And I'm the permission queen. It's like, let me give you permission to let it be easier. Like, let's be in flow. And it's possible. It's for sure possible, because if I can do it, anybody can.
Absolutely. So, what I want you to be hearing from this is that you have it inside of you. It's already there. You just need somebody to help you pull it out. I always say it's like this. Everybody else can see what's under your nose except for yourself. So do that with me. Do you see it? It's not there, but everybody else can see it. And we all know, the people, those of us like myself and Lisbeth, who mentor other nurses, we can see it plain as day, and we help bring it out of you.
Absolutely. Hoping to pull out the magnificence that you are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice do you have for nurses that want to leave their traditional roles and start their own business?
I would say get yourself a beautiful writing utensil and a special journal. And one of the biggest things that hindsight's always 20/20, is start to speak. This is the other thing that I'm really good at, is talking about the elephant in the room. And that is, so many people hide in shame, right? Shame gets its power because people don't talk about what they're really feeling,
right?
What they fear, and they don't want to leave their job. And that is, reach out to people. When you can come from a place of vulnerability, like, listen, I am at wit's end. It gives me angel bumps to say, I'm at wit's end. I don't know what to do. Reach out to one colleague, reach out to people on LinkedIn is like the hottest platform right now. Because people don't read minds. I mean, some of us do, but if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. People are dying to help support you. So make that one call. This is a sign. If you're looking for a sign, this is it. That's one of the things I teach nurses, is looking for the evidence that you are completely supported, especially in those moments where you feel like you're dying and it's over. Is that the opposite is also true. There's this thing called polarity. So ask somebody for support. Start asking people, start joining associations. LinkedIn is an incredible platform to start dipping in your toe in the water. And the sooner that you do that, then the sooner you're going to find your tribe. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So you have given us an amazing free gift. It's so why don't you tell everybody about it?
So this is I like to riff on things. I just get moved by spirit. And so it's 3 universal truths that all women can benefit from. I'm not going to spill the beans now. It's a super short video. And here's the other thing that I love to teach is I don't teach anything that I don't practice myself. And we have been sold a false bill of goods that say this: something needs to be complex to be effective or transformative, and things need to be really expensive. And so your breath is completely free and available. As long as you have a pulse and you're breathing, it's available. It's one of the most transformational tools we can have, but we don't leverage it, right? So that's just a little example of simple, the KISS principle. Keep it simple. And it's really, so anyway, it's things that I know to be true, Oprah moments. I've had so many uploads, downloads, divine wisdoms. And so it's really powerful stuff. And again, it's simple that you can start applying today. So there's going to be a link to that video for everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. And you'll see in the notes by the video how you can get Lisbeth's gift and how you can keep in touch with her. So thank you so much for being here.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me. What an honor.
Oh, I feel like I have the best job in the world getting to interview these amazing people. So thank you.
You're so welcome.
So bye, everyone. See you next time. And be sure to share this information with everybody at empowerednurses.org/heynurses. They can still hop on and watch the videos, and we'd love to have them. Thank you. Bye, everyone.